number one, baby.
Things up, baby. Things up.
I swear, if a certain quarterback is mentioned in the comments, got my beers ready, I'm gonna crack it open.
Or is it the Serbian kid?
Serbian kid,
This looks done. Oh my god, it looks fantastic.
I'm the man. I said it, and it's reality. All right.
Congratulations.
What's going on, folks? Thank you for joining us at Huddle Up and Wait. Glad to have you back. This is a postponed of the week edition because my big ugly butt got back to work after my injury finally. And Bret was over here rearranging a schedule for me all the time, and I felt bad. So I'm like, oh, Saturday, buddy, is the last shot. And he's like, fine. So, Bret, how you doing tonight as he opens a beer?
I thought that was a perfect segue. I'm good. I'm tired, exhausted, but good.
Yeah, man, it's been warm here, 85 degrees, nice warm weather here in Georgia. Oh, dude, it's been beautiful. But kids are outside in the backyard playing. We're just down at my dad's house, a couple houses down, and
the weather was literally bipolar today. It was like 60 degrees down by the beach, and then we get back home, and it was like 50. I'm like, what the hell?
Well, as you see, folks, I have my representatives in the back because we have a special edition tonight for the first round live mock draft we're going to do, because right now we're in a dead spot for NFL news. Like, free agency has happened, that first, second, third wave, and there's a couple signings today recently right before the show. Of course, it starts. Didn't happen throughout the day. Yesterday, we're still waiting on the Aaron Rodgers trade, but Bobby Wagner returning to the Seahawks, 1 year. DJ Chark going to Carolina to pair up with Adam Thielen. So there was a couple signings here and there, but more or less it's kind of been more on the quiet end now the past couple of days, and just waiting on the big trades for Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, stuff like that. So figured, and Bret and I are big draft guys, and we want to go and drop right in. We're able to drop the StreamYard link so I can jump. I don't think I have that, buddy.
We don't have that. We're not doing that tonight anyway.
We got to keep it a tight 45, because Bret's got some family time, and I know I got to have mine after.
I can get up at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, he's got work, folks. Bret's going to be a zombie
nerd
work tomorrow. Bret, you got any topics for grind my gears at all you want to get off your chest? Because I know usually once a week you got something.
I don't know if there's really anything this week right now. I mean, because it's kind of quiet right now.
Hell has frozen over if you don't have a grind my gears segment.
See, I don't know. Like, I do have something that I've been picking at, and one in more of a curiosity thing, because I'm just setting up the sheet for the mock draft. So
a cheat sheet? I just go by the wheel of my pants like Chris Greer.
Well, that's what I'm doing, but I like to be at least a little bit above mediocre. So I'm going to write down our picks so that we keep it organized. No, so all these 1 year deals that everybody's signing. Bobby Wagner, obviously, it makes sense with his age. He's, you don't know what you're getting with him.
Tried the 1 year go to the Rams, yeah.
So you understand the 1 year deals with guys like that. Like what part of their career are they in? I understand those kind of signings, but when you're getting guys that are like 1 year signing that are like in their 20s, they're coming off a good year. To me, it's starting to say all these 1 year. It's either one of two things or both. The draft is either deep in that position, and teams are like, well, I'll commit to 1 year for you, but I feel like I could draft a guy to replace you next year and be cheaper, which is likely. Or the other part is that the cap is going to shoot up next year. They can say, we can sign you this year, or it's going to go down. So like the cap is going to affect how they're looking at things, and they want to have money to be able to kick down or have open next year. So I don't know. So I really don't know how that's going to go. But there's a lot of 1 year deals being thrown around. So I think the cap is going to come into play here. The
TV deals next year are supposed to kick in, and they're supposed to jump up even more. So you got things like Fox, Amazon, all these deals that got their signings last year, they were signed in either 2023 or 2024 to take effect. So it wouldn't surprise me it jumps up 25, 30 million next year.
That's the other thing too, is YouTube TV is going up again. Then that's who has NFL Ticket now, and that keeps going up. So naturally, what do corporations do? I mean, that's something that grinds my gears. What do the corporations do? They put the money back on their consumers. Oh, we just spent all this money to get the rights to NFL Ticket. So now we got to raise the prices of everybody.
Still not as bad as DirecTV.
And I almost guarantee you it's going to be astronomical for NFL Ticket. It's just not worth it.
The amount of what DirecTV was charging was ridiculous.
Yeah.
YouTube TV still not as bad. So that's why I think.
Well, what for what? The ticket or just overall everything?
Well, you got to charge the ticket on top of your regular cable package. So YouTube TV, if you get it included, it doesn't. What I see they're doing, they're basically taking a combo deal where if you get DirecTV, it's going to be cheaper for you. That's what I think they're doing. And yes, it's a little bit more expensive than what you're used to, but it's not the whole DirecTV charge out the wazoo.
So if you get DirecTV, you get a deal with YouTube TV for the ticket?
No. What I'm saying is when DirecTV had the rights to ticket, they charged like triple the amount they should have.
It was originally when I did it. This is back in like 2003 when I first got it. I was obviously a teenager, but my parents got it. I had to pay for it. I want to say it was like $200 for the season, even then. And then it went up. Now it's like $300 for the season or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
And it's just ridiculous. It's like, man, why am I paying that much for DirecTV? Now, YouTube TV, I don't know how much it is monthly. I've just seen people complaining. And then the ticket on top of that, it's expensive. So, I mean, the NFL better be have a huge cap next year, and these guaranteed monies better be flowing around because, I mean, these guys, the NFL constantly makes money on all these monopolies, like with EA and their crappy game systems.
Sorry, I had a moth who was flying around my head. I'm like, where the heck did that come from?
I figured I'd just let you. I'll let you fight with the moth while I just go ahead and
so if you touch the camera, folks, and you don't see me anymore.
You know what grinds my gears? Moths that won't get out of my house.
Goddamn spring moths in Georgia. But no, I'm glad the draft season 34 days away. 34 days. That's why we're doing this mock draft tonight, so we can prepare. A lot of the pro days have happened already. The QBs, Stroud, Young, Levis. I mean, tell you what, Levis looked good the other day. In his pro day, I watched a little bit of it, and we all knew he had a strong arm. And I know you can't really judge on it because it's the Pajama Olympics again. It's not just the combine drills. It's a little more in depth on it.
Of course, they're getting the Zach Wilson comparison. Stop it.
No. If someone says, "Oh, Zach Wilson," my thing is, Will Levis, I feel like he's slept on so much in this draft. If people keep talking about Young and Stroud and Richardson, someone's going to get Levis and get a really good quarterback.
I'm so tired of he has a good arm and he's an athlete. But Jeff George had a good arm. These guys had a good arm. I hated it when Herbert came out. It was like, oh, well, Jeff George had a good arm. Jamarcus Russell had a good arm. Yeah, but Jeff George also was known to be hot-headed and a little bit of an asshole. And even he'll tell you that he was just he didn't want to take the coaching. And a lot of these guys, like same with Jamarcus Russell, was just lazy. He had no desire to be good. So, just because a guy is athletic and a strong arm doesn't mean he won't be good. Doesn't mean he will be good. So, like Will Levis, I don't think he has the same mentality as Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson always gave me the wrong mentality. Always gave me that whatever, I'm good if I do, good if I don't mentality. Like, I don't really care. It's kind of like Josh Rosen. I don't know. Almost like this. I don't want to say spoiled spoon fed because I don't know them personally, but they give me that vibe that whatever. If I don't make it, I still have money. I still come for money. I'll be fine.
I was one of the huge anti-Rosen guys, and a lot of people were on his train. And I'm like, I watched his system coming out in UCLA. I just didn't see it. I didn't see it click with him, and you saw it come to the pros. He had his chances, and the only thing he did good for me in the NFL is ending Mike McCarthy's tenure in Green Bay, and I applaud him for that because he beat Green Bay in Green Bay that year, which is like unheard of in November. So especially when
he doesn't have that fire. Like when Miami traded for him, I was like, okay, this is like
it's not his life like other people treat it as.
When Miami traded for him, like, okay, whatever. You can't really hurt. This draft's kind of weak anyway. You trade a second for him. All right, whatever. I actually didn't hate that because you're taking a shot at a quarterback. I never hate that. And like, so it'd be no different to drafting a guy in the second round. He fails. Okay, whatever. Well, he did fail. He didn't really get much of a chance, but didn't really need to get a chance either because like he kind of showed what he was. He just didn't have that oomph. You know what I mean? Like just didn't have that like I want to be great. And you could tell that drive to be great. And some guys just don't have it. Some guys, they just get to the game and they're like, holy hell, they're just lost. And they never really fully mentally prepared themselves. And if they can go back, they know what to do. One example is John Beck.
Yeah.
I know I hate to keep doing Dolphin references, but John Beck, actually, he's a fantastic quarterback coach now. Almost like he's coaching what he wished he had to succeed in the NFL. He's almost like him and Palmer. They kind of coach it like, if we did this, we did what we're teaching you, we would have had successful careers, but we didn't. And they know like we had limitations physically, but we could have been better than we were. So when they coach guys at like a Josh Allen who have all the talent in the world, if you do what we're telling you, you can get better. And Josh Allen did. And then of course took a step back, but so it's like Rosen just doesn't have that at all. Like those guys came in the league. It's like, this is too much for him. But Rosen and Wilson came in the league and they're just kind of like, meh. Like Wilson just doesn't show like he almost like acts like it's going to be too easy for him. Shows up and he struggles. Like you can't just show up and be ready to play.
The defense under the bus acting like the offense didn't have any blame. That's that attitude I hate coming out from college players. Like there's no humbleness, nothing.
I'll throw one thing out there, and you're a Sixers fan, you'll get this, and then we'll jump into this mock. Allen Iverson has said now, as an adult, as a retired player, as a matured guy, that the reason that Kobe was as great as he was, because while those guys were out at the nightclub, partying, living it up, Kobe was getting some sleep, getting up, getting a workout in before practice, already shot like 1,000 shots or some crazy nonsense, like craziness before practice even started, did his practice, outworked everybody at practice, and then was great in the game. And then he was like film star. He lived and breathed the game. And Iverson did say, and it's not like he's calling himself a bad player, but how great could Iverson have been, even greater, if he didn't just show up to play the game, if he actually like dedicated himself as much as Kobe did. You know what I mean? And Iverson has said that before, like if I had dedicated myself to that point. So that's something that we don't see from the outside. I don't know without talking to Levis if he is that spoon-fed guy or if he's that guy like, I found out what I need to do and I put my head down and work. Jalen Hurts. I know what I'm weak at, and I'm going to keep working on getting better at it. And I'm going to say, where am I weak? I'm going to constantly work to get better. What am I good at? I'm going to constantly work to improve that. And that way I'm bringing my weaknesses up, and I'm constantly making sure I'm good at what I'm good at.
I mean, there's a reason why AI got banned from multiple casinos because he was out partying, gambling his money away. And Detroit, and I believe the other one wasn't Philly. It was out in Denver. He got banned from a couple casinos out there. It's just that's what his life was. And with him admitting that, it shows that grind lifestyle. And Anthony, I saw your comment about I think Justin Herbert is in love with the game. Just because he has a degree in neurology doesn't mean he doesn't love the game. It means he's smart as hell. And that's why Bret and I have talked about this, that Justin Herbert is going to go up to that next step this year. We think he takes that next step and getting there, especially with now Kellen Moore going to the Chargers, new fresh ideas. So instead of getting the stale, stagnant offense in what he was having before with Joe Lombardi.
He stayed in college so he can actually get his degree because he wanted the actual degree. Some guys, and I'm not knocking them, some guys just, I'm just going to get a whatever degree because football's going to be my thing or whatever. Okay, whatever. And I can do broadcasting.
You need a high GPA to get in there.
Yeah, and Herbert just wanted to make sure he had a degree that he could fall back on because anything could happen. He is a smart guy, but he does love football. He wanted football to be his number one, and he's proven it. So,
but you know what? There's one thing I wanted to touch on before the draft. It was kind of leaked a little bit. So the Panthers on their pro day, I don't know if you saw this, when Frank Reich and Josh McCown met with C.J. Stroud, they were dabbing him up, everything, and the mic was right near Josh McCown when he said this. And he's going, and he goes, yeah, we can definitely play some ball when you go ahead. We can find a court, and when you get in Charlotte. And I'm like, why is he telling him he's already going to be in Charlotte? And I'm like, and McCown he loves Stroud. You could see it
Yeah.
to the moon and back. Reich loves him. And this is the Panthers just doing due diligence on other quarterbacks. They take them out to dinner. They want to see how their character is.
Yeah.
They want to see how they handle themselves and stuff like that. So, but Stroud is still I'm not trying to give away number one pick, folks.
Well, they said that at the same time, they also said the reason they said when you get Charlotte is for visits. So I don't know.
I mean, I'm telling you, I think
he's it. I think that's who they traded up for.
I think they're a Stroud fan all day long.
I'm sorry, you're not trading up for Bryce Harper.
Bryce Harper plays football.
Oh shit!
Whoa,
Well,
we got Deion Sanders in the house again. No.
Sorry.
I'm waiting for
you're not trading up for Bryce Young.
I'm just looking at Bret like Bryce Harper. Wow, and he's just staring at me back like, really?
My God,
really?
Oh, Philly's in the mind. So,
speaking of which, Sixers need to turn it up. We're both Sixers fans. They need to start getting going for the playoffs. But anyways,
we'll see.
I digress on that. God, can you please thunder down the draft mock simulator?
Bobby,
God,
that's your cue.
God,
backstage.
Jeez, God's slow tonight. Oh my God, can't get any wishes granted around here. All right, roll the dice, Bret. Odds or evens? What do you want?
I'm going evens.
So you put me on the clock.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the clock.
All right. Number one, Carolina Panthers. They traded up, gave a haul to get up to Chicago, and trade back to number 9 where they're originally at. I am taking C.J. Stroud. We just talked about it.
Yeah.
God, please select C.J. Stroud.
Will Levis? Oh. You know what? On this one, it just makes too much sense for me. For some reason, I see this as one of the teams that's going to go after them is Bryce Young. I think the Texans go Bryce Young here. It just it just fits.
Yeah, I like it. I think D'Amico Ryans is he wants that guy that's going to come in, be assassin type smart and understand the defensive coverages, and that's Bryce Young, man. He'll come in, he knows how to read a defense. I don't care if he's short. We've seen other short QBs be successful. I'm just ready to see this happen because a lot of people, I feel are hating on Young, and I'm like, this dude has won countless games at Alabama, big games, and he's just slept on.
Well, real quick, look what Purdy did as an undersized underdog, and I feel Young can kind of play that kind of football that Mika Ryans are going to want to play, and the same. Basically, it's going to. I think they're going to basically mirror what they did in San Fran in that sense. So they're going to play physical brand of football, and they're going to be able to run the ball on offense, and it's a good way to build Young up. So I just see it perfect fit.
I agree. And also, too, folks, I did forget to mention this earlier. Before we get to the third pick, please like and subscribe while you're here. We love having you. Love having you jump in and watch the mock draft simulator. And if you have any thoughts, please put it in the chat, and we'll go ahead and review that as well when we can, going through picks. Number 3, God, give me Will Anderson to the Arizona Cardinals. They lost some serious defensive help. Chandler Jones, gone. J.J. Watt, gone. So they're going to need someone to come in and be that blue chip pass rusher. And Will Anderson is a great way to start. Jonathan Gannon is a head coach. Yeah, it's too easy of a pick.
Yep. I agree. That's a great pick. And they need defense bad. And I'm not big for drafting needs, but I mean, name a player possibly better than Will Anderson or Jalen Carter there. Jalen Carter has questions around him. Will Anderson, I'll take him all day.
Blue chipper.
Yep. So,
all right there, Mr. Evans.
Now, I don't suspect that this will happen. I do think a trade might happen in the top 5, but I am going to go Will Levis here with the Colts. I've kicked around Anthony Richardson to the Colts for some reason.
I just don't see it though.
It doesn't. I don't know if he fits their brand of football. If they're willing to be that patient or not. I mean, they're going to be patient with Levis, but I'm going Will Levis with the Colts.
Well, Shane Steichen, he likes the mobility in a quarterback, but he also loves the passing ability. And Richardson's going to have to sit and develop. They can't have that in Indy right now. Levis can come out with a strong run game, strong offensive line. And they have the weapons in Pittman and Pierce. They've got solid weapons there.
They really do. They have really good rumors are there. Looking into Lamar, I think they go Richardson. Levis may fall. Oh, well, I mean, Levis could fall, and that wouldn't shock me there. Like I
That was cheap though as a GM. I don't think he shells out 2 firsts for Lamar.
but
That's
if this was me and I'm sitting in the Colts position the way this draft's falling right now, I would go Will Levis. But I do like Richardson. But watching some of his throws, I'm looking at like those windows aren't there in the NFL, and he's not going to be able to take those in the NFL. And I'm watching like NFL open throws, and he's not taking them. And I don't want to say lucky, but he's like with his arm power, he's got enough power to work the ball in. But I'm like, I'm questioning him being able to do that at the NFL level. So I think it's going to be like a Patrick Mahomes where he had to learn NFL defenses a little bit more and put a little bit more time in the film room. And I think that's where he's going to need the biggest is the film room. And I think Levis will too. But either way, I like that. I think I would go Levis, but I agree that could happen. I wouldn't shock me whatsoever.
Now with Seattle, this is where it gets really fun because now the 4th QB is up out of that four QBs of the higher tier that people are projecting. So this could be Anthony Richardson. I like him for Seattle, but here's the thing. I'm not going to make a trade here because we want to keep this no trades going down through. But this could be trade central right here for Seattle. You may get a team that loves Richardson in Tennessee, Washington, Las Vegas that didn't get a chance to get one. They may trade up. They get a haul for moving back a couple picks or maybe 5-10 picks at most, and then they still have another first in another first-round pick if they add more and get a haul this year. So they could really take advantage of this. But I'm going to take Anthony Richardson here because, one, he reminds me of a Geno Smith coming out. He reminds me of Geno that was unpolished when he came out. You can see the raw traits. You can see the running, the passing. So I think he is perfect for Pete Carroll and what he wants to do in this offense. Geno Smith is locked up for the next 3 years, so you can sit and develop him for 2 years at least, and he'll be fine.
I'll throw one thing out there. If Bryce Young is sitting at 5,
take it all day long.
I think Seattle takes him.
Yes.
I think he's another one. I think that's another team that's a perfect fit for him because they want a game manager as
he
well.
Can come in and start next year if needed be.
And I think that's what they would look for as a game manager.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. So, yeah.
All right. Here, kitties for Mr. Legacy.
Oh, man. So this one gets interesting for me because I think Jalen Carter could have went right to Seattle. I think they're not afraid to take guys with issues in their history. But, I mean, this is where do I want to go Witherspoon in the corner or do I see them going like an edge rusher again? You know, it's tough.
So they just signed Cam Sutton. They signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They signed Emmanuel Mosley, and they still got Aurorier from Oregon and also Jeff Okudah that's coming back off injury. So they've got corners.
They got corners. I mean, Okudah, yeah. But you know who could make a lot of sense here, and he love to run the football is Bijan Robinson. Would not shock me whatsoever see Detroit take him.
Montgomery and I don't think he's going 6, man. That's just me.
I don't know.
I'm not telling you what to do. I don't.
For some reason, it just screams their pick to me. But I think the pick that I was going to go with anyway is Gonzalez out of Oregon. I think that's probably their best fit. I think he's one of the better corners in this draft. And I think, again, that allows them to move Okudah if need be or gives them a young corner duo for a while.
We got a Lions fan in the house tonight. What's going on, Greg? Just saw you. John's in the house.
I mean, you got Swift for how many games? I mean, thanks for tuning in, Greg. But how many games you got?
Montgomery is going to be healthier. Montgomery's going to be the guy.
Yeah, and I like Swift, but like if I had a chance to upgrade Swift beyond Robinson, I probably would, and then just trade Swift. That's just me.
Now, Greg, I'm a Packers fan, and I'm wholeheartedly admitting this. I'm projecting the Lions to win the North this year. There's nobody else that's made a bigger jump in the last 2 years to add the talent they have. I am fully expecting Dan Campbell to take this squad and go win the NFC North in 2023. So
as a Dolphins guy, as a Dolphins guy, I still love Dan Campbell and will always love Dan Campbell.
He's amazing.
I watched the Dolphins beat the Eagles in Philly with Dan Campbell as head coach, and I was so hyped for that. And Dan Campbell he's just awesome. Love it.
Like, he literally has guys that will run through walls for him. Mm-hmm. He will have guys. It's one team, one heartbeat. And they had both their coordinators that had head coach offer jobs. They turned them down to stay in town.
Yep.
and go try and win something. That's
because they feel
awesome.
like they're building something. I love it, and I love the fight that they have. And Jared Goff didn't get talked about enough.
He had a great season last year.
Yeah, he did. He was like, everybody talked about Daniel Jones, everybody talked about Geno Smith. Those guys didn't have elite years; they just had efficient years. And Jared Goff had an efficient year. Is it elite quarterback play? No, but all those teams ran the ball really well.
Yeah.
And the Lions were like, hey, we're going to run the ball. We're going to punch you in the mouth on offense. We're going to punch you in the mouth on defense. Now the Lions settle their secondary down and get their passing offense going, they're going to be a dangerous team. Obviously, they're only going to go as far as their quarterback, but they're doing great.
Well, yeah, I'm on Ross and Brown, Jameson Williams. I think they're going to be solid.
I love their physical team. I love it.
Detroit could snag a tight end in the draft this year in the first and second round with their extra picks they got.
Well, that rookie stepped up for him. I forgot.
He did. But when you got guys like Darnell Washington or Michael Mayer there,
I'm not. Yeah. Again, their head coach is a tight end, and he wants to run dual tight end sets. He wants to run a lot of 21 personnel. I agree. I think they really could go another tight end and run two tight ends at all times.
But I digress. I was rabbit holing. Las Vegas Raiders, they are out on the QB board. They could actually trade out here if they wanted to, if some team wanted to go up, because Jalen Carter's on the board. But I go back and look, and I'm like, man, they don't have much of a defensive line either. They had trouble stopping the run last year. They had a good pass rush. They were top 10 in that with Yannick Ngakoue and Max Crosby. But I think Yannick Ngakoue is a free agent. So it wouldn't – and the Raiders have always been known to go for the bad boys. So it wouldn't surprise me one bit here to go with Jalen Carter. I'm going to go Jalen Carter at the Raiders.
That right there is – I would have done the same thing if I had odds.
Yeah. If he falls to 6 and 7, that's to me the Jalen Carter area, and I feel like it would be a great fit there. Max Crosby, Jalen Carter coming at you on the defensive line. Watch out. That'd be a fun combination.
Yeah, I agree. That would be one hell of a combination right there. So, I think that's a good pick. He's a good player. He shouldn't be falling to 7. We'll see what the off-field stuff is, but obviously they're not afraid of that. However, maybe they are after the Henry Ruggs scare, although this wasn't the Henry Ruggs situation. He was just a kid racing, dumb, yes, whatever. We're all dumb at that age.
Ironic enough, Jalen Carter got arrested for a misdemeanor for racing. So
right, so it's a misdemeanor. Yeah. I've never done that in my life. Never got caught anyway. So we're going with the next. We're going with the Atlanta Falcons. Now this one can get really interesting. So here are the Falcons. They did bring back McGarry, the right tackle. And you're looking at a team that loves to run the football. They have Tyler Algier, which they love. I don't think they go Bijan Robinson. That system really loves
they still have Patterson too, so they still got two strong backs.
Yeah, and they got London last year. They got Kyle Pitts. They have good weapons. So I think on the opposite side, I think they're going to go with an edge rusher who they really, really could use. And I think Tyree Wilson is that guy.
He's slept on too much. I feel like Will Anderson is great, but Tyree Wilson just got cleared by the famous foot doctor in the NFL. I can never remember his name, but I always remember that he's always assigned all these foot injuries, and he just got cleared. So he is good to go in OTAs, off-season activities.
And the last guy they drafted that was an athletic freak that had a foot issue. He turned out pretty good, the Julio Jones guy.
Yeah.
No, but I like that move because if the Falcons, their defense is like, it's not as bad as people think. But it's like right there. The Falcons are a team. They're like right there. They just need a few pieces here and there. They're going to be, I think teams are going to be awake to them. And I love what Arthur Smith is doing down there in Atlanta.
The Bears still suck. Sorry, the Packers fan came out of me. All rivalship aside, they need offensive line. I know that a lot of fans are clamoring for Jackson Smith and Jigba, and who played with Fields and stuff, but he can't even throw to receivers because of how bad the offensive line was last year.
Love this pick. Where are you going?
They signed Nate Davis in free agency, but I'm taking Braxton Jones who's at left tackle, moving him to right tackle. Give me Paris Johnson, Ohio State.
I think you leave him at right tackle, but yeah, I like Paris Johnson there.
I think he's better than Braxton Jones overall as a tackle. That's the reason why I want to move him. And Braxton Jones was only graded well on paper last year because they barely passed the ball and they ran so much. That's the thing. Braxton Jones had a good rookie season, but it wasn't this glaring like he's a stalwart left tackle. I just think Paris Johnson has the skills. He could play at left tackle. He's that mobile for a guy his size to be that mobile and be able to pull on run plays and stuff. I feel like that's what makes him dangerous.
No, I agree. I think I agree that I think he upgrades their offensive line in general. So either way, it's a good pick, and you have options with him, and that makes it nice. So the Eagles here become an enigma here, because do they go add another weapon? Do they replace? Do they go safety? Do they go offensive line?
Too early for me.
Yeah. Howie's really good at building his offensive line and defensive line, and he's done a really good job at building the offensive line with mid-round picks, later round picks. Where do they go? I don't think they go offensive line here, because one of the better offensive linemen available doesn't really fit how they view their offensive lineman, and Broderick Jones. Maybe he might actually, but I don't think they would go here.
Johnson got a 1-year extension too, so he's playing another year.
Yeah, so they have the right tackle. Howie doesn't always draft for needs; he drafts for the future. So look at the tackle they got out of Georgia last year. They lost Hargrave this year.
Linebacker. Trent Simpson on the board. Miles Murphy's is on the board.
See, but I don't see those guys as guys they would go after. But who I do actually see,
do it.
The guy that they go after and they need is Bijan Robinson. He's like their Miles Sanders, but better. You know what I mean? I like Miles Sanders. I think he's a fantastic player, but I just think Bijan Robinson's even better. So I think this is a hell of a pick. I think this is going to be explosive for them, and he's going to add to their offense to keep their offense playing well. And their defense, they already drafted a replacement for the linebackers that they missed. So they have the firepower to do this. So I think it's Bijan Robinson.
Moving on to Tennessee, man, they've lost a lot. Taylor Lewan retired. He was a big piece of their offensive line, couldn't stay healthy. Had kind of contract negotiation issues, and he just ended up retiring. Lost Robert Woods. They do have Traylon Burks going into his second year. Now, this is where I'm at a crossroads, Brett. It's either to take tackle or wide receiver. That's their biggest need for me. And I feel like now you've already seen Paris Johnson go off the board. Wide receivers haven't been touched yet. I'm going Broderick Jones here. I'm going to go Broderick Jones for the Tennessee Titans, replacing Taylor Lewan. And that's going to be that stalwart that they need, because Derrick Henry, running offense, Broderick Jones comes from running offense in Georgia. Perfect fit.
I like it.
I was leaning towards Quentin Johnston, but you can find receivers farther down in the draft than top-tier offensive linemen.
Well, I mean, it's hit or miss. It depends on the draft. Some drafts, you're better off going offensive line. Some drafts, you're better off going impact player like a receiver. It just really depends on how the draft falls. But it's funny. So it seems like there's a run on offensive lineman coming. And every draft, I feel like there's a tackle that goes higher than he should. I feel like there's an offensive lineman that goes really high.
Did we name him yet?
Higher than you expect. And I think this one's too perfect of a fit to pass up, although I do see more of a trade down in this scenario to get him. But Peter Skronsky out of Northwestern, I think is a good fit with Houston. I think it kind of matches what they want to do. For some reason, it just makes sense there. And that's who I'm going with for the Texans. And it honestly, pairing him up with Tunsil, oh my God, that offensive line, that run game already, that team's going to surprise some people this year, especially getting young, a little bit more athletic quarterback who can make a little more plays. I'm still not a huge fan of his ceiling. I don't know how good, but I think he can come in and be pretty good. So that's where I'm going.
I love it. I mean, because D'Amico Ryans came from San Francisco. And what do they do? Win in the trenches. So that doesn't surprise me one bit on what they need. And Jets here, it's in limbo because the pick possibly going to Green Bay for Rodgers.
I mean, we could pretend it's already to Green Bay.
No, I'm going to keep it because Jets might give 2 seconds. They have 42 and 43 back to back now, and they might do that and send players. So there's different scenarios. I'm going to keep it as is. I think now with the offensive linemen going down quick, those are the top 3 guys that people were kind of focusing on. I'm going to go to their next need, and this is where I think he would fit in is Brian Branch. For safety at the Jets. Yeah. I think he'd be a fun prospect for Robert Saleh. That just makes too much sense to me. And they're obviously defense oriented. I know they're trying to get Rodgers, but they've got a very talented defense, folks. And pairing up a guy like Brian Branch back there with Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed and Jordan Whitehead, fun combination.
Yeah, and that leads me to a point where I don't want the Patriots pick because I'm going to do this, and I don't want to do this. Yeah. Looking at it, I know the Patriots don't usually go corner high, but I think they're going to go corner here because they do. This is a pretty good corner class at the top.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got Witherspoon, you got Cam Smith, you got Joey Porter. All respect to PFN. Really respect those guys. Being I used to write with them and all, but a little disagree here. I think I would put Joey Porter and Cam Smith a little higher up the board here, but Witherspoon. But I understand Witherspoon is a playmaker. He's more of the dig style, but to me, he's boomer bust. And I think a guy like Joey Porter or Cam Smith is who they would go after. And for some reason, like Joey Porter is really sticking out to me. Like for the Patriots, it just feels like a perfect fit for them, and he just fits that swagger that they need that they have in the secondary. And I'll go on Joey Porter.
God, there we go.
I seen him scroll between the two. All right, Brett, which one?
All right. Green Bay. Of course, this lines up perfect. Green Bay Packers fan for a Green Bay Packers mock pick. I'm taking a guy right away that this is what they did with Rodgers in his first year starting. The first overall pick that they had was wide receiver. They have Christian Watson. They have Romeo Doubs. They need supporting cast as a whole in the wide receiver room. It wouldn't surprise me one bit to see him do that and break the longest position deficit in the league for a wide receiver. Jackson Smith and Jigba to Green Bay Packers, please.
I didn't even have to listen to you finish. I started writing his name down in my notes before you even finished that.
Packers met with him 3 times, and then met with him at his pro day as well.
But on top of that, you've been like a huge fan of his going to Green Bay for how long? So I'm like, yeah, that's just who he's going with.
Dude, he is the new Amon-Ra St. Brown of this year, and people don't realize how you know it because you're a Buckeye fan. How nasty this guy is off the line, outside in the slot, doesn't matter.
What is it about guys who everybody gets enamored with and then all of a sudden fall out of love with because, like, oh, it's stale. Like, you love what he did before. Like, no, he's not Justin Jefferson or he's not like a Tyreek Hill. I know there's different players, but they're like real dominant styles in 2 different ways. But he can be that Adam Thielen, that Cooper Kupp style guy, that guy that's difficult to cover, the guy that gets a high volume catches. He just constantly gets open. And you know what you remember there's one guy, and you're going to know this very well, that all they said at the Senior Bowl about him, he got open. Nobody could cover him. He's not fast. He's not explosive. He's not huge, but all he did was get open. And he had a pretty good career. His name was Jordy Nelson. So, like, those kind of guys just get open.
And that was the first receiver drafted of Rodgers' first starting year, 2008.
If you think about it, McLaurin's one of the only ones from Ohio State that's had like that explosive speed that also is a really good route runner. A lot of those guys like Paris Campbell, Curtis Samuel, those guys were explosive coming out. But the guys that are really good route runners at Ohio State do the most damage.
Yeah.
So I like those guys the best. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
All right. So, my bad. Back to Washington. Let's go. I think Washington, and this is going to be a tough one because they just signed their defensive tackle. They still need some defense, honestly, as crazy as it sounds. They need offense. They need a little bit of everything, but what they need the most is quarterback. So I think this one, honestly, a good pick for them is Jordan Addison on offense. Give them another explosive receiver, help that offense out a little bit. I don't know how much it's going to help, to be honest, but I think Jordan Addison here from Texas.
Well, you pair him up with Scary Terry, obviously. So that gives the guy to work inside while Terry McLaurin works outside. Mm-hmm. I like it. Curtis Samuel's kind of that X factor where you can use him as a running back, sweeps, still as a receiver. Trying to give him that big 3 and a quarterback that can come in and if Sam Howell does start, they can use him.
And I forgot the kid out of the running back that got out of Memphis. Forgot his name.
Brian Robinson.
And Brian
Robinson was the rookie out of Alabama, and then you got Antonio Gibson.
Yep, Gibson. Yep, that's what I'm thinking of.
And then next, Steelers. Glaringly obvious. They lost a lot in the inside linebacker room. Trenton Simpson makes too much sense here. He's an athlete that can go out and cover in space. Not Brian Flores, I'm sorry. Mike Tomlin loves that in those type of positions. And those off-ball linebackers, they had a ton of problem with last year.
Yeah.
Devin Bush is gone. Miles Jack is gone. They need an overhaul. And Trenton Simpson does a lot what Mike Tomlin does in that linebacker room for.
I hope he breaks the last few Clemson linebackers that have come out.
I do too. It's got that kind of that enigma wrote over them of the whole.
Yeah,
they're going to be bust if they're coming out of Clemson and linebackers.
Yeah. So, but they've had luck with linebackers too at the same time throughout their career, throughout their history. So now we're back to the Lions. So the Lions, honestly, they could double up and go corner again. I don't see it. I don't know if they go edge again.
In my opinion.
Yeah. So I think the Lions here, this could really help, honestly, on offense, get them a little bit more explosive again. They already have a good run game, but I think Quentin Johnston right here. I mean, I know I think
wide receiver that I cannot stand.
I think he's a guy that could be a good player. I think he could be a good fit.
Yes, I'll say it. But
I think for them, for their fit, for what they do, I think he's a perfect fit. I'll put it that way.
My only issue with him, there's a couple actually. He body catches, doesn't fight through DBs far enough when he's a bigger receiver.
He doesn't always play the biggest.
Yeah, smaller DBs will body him up, and he'll drop balls all the time. Limited route tree. And in Ben Johnson's offense, you need a full route tree as a wide receiver.
Well, I think he can develop that. I think he has the ability to develop that. Yeah, but I think he will be good.
Well, he's not warranted this top 10 pick like I see everyone
doing.
No. He is not this.
In fact, 18 is kind of high, but
yeah, I agree. I think he's a second-round pick, to be honest. That's what I have.
Yeah. I could see that. I definitely could see the argument there.
Not being mean, it's just is what it is.
So with the Buccaneers, there's 2 picks I think could happen here.
You know what? God, I want to do it. I want to go do it so bad, even though people because they signed Baker Mayfield, but the Bucks. I am going to go ahead and do it. Select Hendon Hooker. Send Hendon Hooker to the Bucks.
Oh my God.
Hendon Hooker to the Bucks. Send him down. Scroll down and put him there. The run on quarterbacks went. So now teams might be calling the trade up, and the Bucks know that. They need someone to help take over. Baker Mayfield's a stopgap.
I mean,
let Hendon Hooker sit as long as he can. Yeah, he's going to be ready by training camp.
But none of those, absolutely none of those were the guys I thought you were going with. I really thought you were going to go with like Cam Smith or Witherspoon. So just
hold on. What's it say? Oh, is quarterback on there for the Bucks?
It's on there. Yeah, it's on there. But
me and my draft associates behind to say otherwise.
That's fine. I'm just surprised. That's all. Just surprised.
They brought back their corners. That's the thing. Like they brought back 2 or 3 corners. So they
definitely get that, but they can get younger and. All right.
I get that, but it's just when you can. Hendon Hooker was a Heisman finalist before he tore his ACL.
I'll get it. So Seattle. Seattle's done really good drafting. They have offense here. They still need to make a little bit more plays on offense. Still, defense is like they're coming together again. And you could go Miles Murphy here, but one of the bread and butters is defensive back. But at the same time, they could use some more firepower on offense, some weapons to go with DK, to go with Lockett. So I'm going to go with a guy who's not showing up here. I'm going to go with Zay Flowers, who I think is one of the most explosive players in this draft. I think he's a perfect fit there and could honestly be a long-term replacement for Lockett. And they could look to move Lockett, and now they have a younger version in Flowers, which they are known to draft replacements early to save money.
I like it. That's actually I was going to pick for the Chargers because they need a wide receiver 3 behind Mike Williams and them. But
another reason why I took him there too, because Seattle could we like him, we're going to take him, and he fits that tough mold that they look for.
The Chargers got a couple needs. I know you got Bosa and Mack, but they're injured. They're dinged up a lot. They're getting older. So I'm going to go ahead and go the edge, Lucas Van Ness here. You can play him inside, outside as a 3-tech defensive end. You can play him on the edge. stand up. I mean, he's got that nasty power that you cannot teach, man. So I put him there. Chargers prosper, set up for the future.
I like it. I like it a lot. So now we're starting to get into some little bit of weird territory here. Because I mean, the Ravens, like, I'm like tempted to give them a tight end here because that's what they
Tanner
always
McKee.
do. Like, so I'm like looking at it. Oh, Tanner McKee, good Lord, I'm not that early. But I'm like looking at like, okay, you got Dalton Kincaid here. You got Michael Meyer here. Will they go that way? Or will they go defense
receiver, dude,
and go Will McDonald? But they don't draft wide receiver. That's not what they do. That's probably what I would do.
Maybe they change it.
But I don't think they would reach for one here, considering this situation, what they're in. I mean, there's so many players that like fit what they do. I feel like a trade down would be like their way of doing it. But oh man, this one's going to be tough. But their secondary really struggled last year. It really did. So I'm going to go Witherspoon here. Probably should have been going already, but I think he fits really well what they do. That. So I'm definitely going with Witherspoon here.
Oh, the Vikings.
No homer in it.
All right, Bobby, bring up the punters. I'm kidding. Man, you know what? With the defensive back here.
Oh, my God. He brought up the punters.
Bobby, bring up the corners for me on defense.
I already know who you should go with here because it's a perfect fit. And
Smith, they need corners.
Oh, and I hate drafting for need, but Cam Smith, again, a guy that shouldn't be there at 23, in my opinion.
If he's there, they should take it, run with it. Because Peterson's gone. You signed Byron Murphy.
I will say Deonte Banks out of Maryland is another one that I think that will fit, and I think NFL teams like him a little bit more than some media guys do. But excuse me, I do think Banks is a good fit. I think he might go.
Fennell had a good thread on him. I like that.
Yeah, Fennell's a good follow. Really good follow.
Oh, yeah. I love Ben. He's actually a Packers fan.
Yeah, I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from his Pollard tape breakdown, which is great. So now we're going to go to the Jaguars. Now, the Jaguars could use a little bit of everything. I'm not saying they're a bad team, but they have, right. But they have basically the ability to where they draft anything that can help them. And I think really I don't know why this makes a ton of sense. Maybe because of Doug Peterson and having oh my God, I forgot your tight end's name. Sorry, I am drawing a blank today, guys. I'm going Dalton.
Jaguars, Evan Ingram.
No, I'm going Dalton Kincaid here.
Well, really? Because they have Ingram and they're going to sign him to a multi-year deal and he's coming off. I didn't.
Yeah. Oh. And the reason is because they like using two tight ends. Number one. Number two, Ingram can fit a different role that they used him in a lot, and Kincaid can play more of your traditional tight end like Zach Ertz did. Remember how they used their tight ends with Doug Peterson. And remember Doug Peterson comes from an Andy Reid mold where they use a lot of two tight end sets. I think that's how I think that's a perfect fit. Maybe I'm wrong.
Bobby, for the Giants, can you bring up offense and go to offensive line real quick? Ooh. Go to guard for me.
Yeah.
Osiris Torrance right there.
You're going to go that high?
Yep.
You're going to take that high? They're going to reach for need?
I've heard GMs love this guy.
Really?
And also, because he showed out at the Senior Bowl. It's a guy that showed out too. And on top of it, the Giants lost their center and also a guard inside. They need help. To have Saquon and protection for DJ, they need offensive line bad. Their defense is solid. Their front seven, pretty much set. They maybe need an edge guy for depth. That can come later on. I just think the Giants, they need to protect Saquon and DJ if that's their plan.
Yeah, I get it. That makes sense. I'm just saying. I'm just kind of surprised you go that early.
I love Torrance, man.
I get what you're doing. I understand. I agree with it. I'm just that little early there. But if it works out, who cares where they're drafted? That's usually how that works. If they don't work out, then you suck.
Bret's favorite team ever, the Cowboys.
The Cowboys need some defensive tackle help. I don't know that Brees fits what they're going to do. I don't know that they're going to reach for D tackle there. They just signed a corner. They have an edge rusher, although they could look to get a different edge rusher for future. I don't know. I don't think they go corner. Bobby, bring up wide receivers, please.
There's a guy there that I would take in a heartbeat.
I see a guy's name at the bottom I would take, but Bobby, can you bring up wide receivers?
Jalen? Yes, all day long.
So, you know what? I think I'd take Jalen Hylett here. And it sounds crazy, but I think he would be awesome there.
He's sneaky smooth in space.
Yeah, he feels like a Dallas guy. I don't know. He feels like they're fit.
They did just trade for Brandon Cook, so you're giving him another wide receiver on top of it?
Yeah, because I think the Gallup is his injuries. They like to have a rotation at receiver. They like to have depth at receiver. I really feel like Jalen Hyatt fits what Dallas would do.
Well, I'm kind of, I don't know if it's considered a reach. God, I know the Bills. They've got a solid offense, but you know what? They lost a big piece on that defense. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I know he may not be ranked high right now, but 27, Jack Campbell goes to Buffalo Bills.
Ooh, I hate you so much right now.
Because you know it'd be great.
Yeah, I hate you so much right now. And, all right, it's Bobby, or who's running the account saying Bret loves taking receivers? How many times do I have to tell you guys?
That's probably Bobby.
Impact players in the first round. Damn it. If they affect the quarterback or help the quarterback, that's what you do.
I mean, Jesus, every other pick, wide receiver, go wide receiver. I'm taking a receiver.
Receivers, edge rusher, corner. Those guys are the important picks every time.
Premier positions, baby. Premier
impact players. Chris Greer, are you listening?
I love this draft so far. I just want to chime in very quick. What you
fun.
Guys are doing, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, the talent that's on the board, and I'm just saying in this NFL show, but like just look at the talent that would be available in the second round for teams. There'll be a lot of trade action in the second round if this was how the board was going.
And I feel like our offensive line, how it's run, how it's like we had a run on it that early. I feel like that happens a lot, and that's why I said that. The Skronsky one, it just fits like, this guy always gets higher, but it's a perfect fit. So it works out.
Very few top tier guys this year too. So that's going to make an easier run on them. Yep.
So this one, the Bengals, I think they're going to keep their offensive line going right. I think they're going to go Dale right and keep their offensive line right.
That'd be Joey B is thanking you right now. He's sending you a Christmas postcard because he's not going to be injured by that time to send one.
I like that. That's a good spot for him to go from Tennessee. People are sleeping on him.
New Orleans, Dennis Allen as a defensive coordinator, head coach. I'm already seeing a guy I love there. His name is jumping up draft boards. I guarantee if this gets updated, he probably jumps. Isaiah Foskey replaces Marcus Davenport out there in New Orleans.
Ooh.
I don't trust Miles Murphy. I'm sorry. I have Cleveland Farrell flashbacks. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, well, he's got more talent. No, I don't care. His stats show otherwise. What I've seen on the stat sheet for what he supposedly is, he should be having double-digit sacks. He should be having 20-plus tackle for loss. It's just not there. Like, I just don't see it on tape. So I'm going to Isaiah Foskey is going to be a nasty pick for someone out of Notre Dame. The guy can play some ball, man.
I like it. And you know what? I think I think the Eagles will actually go Nolan Smith here to Georgia. To play that jack role, the elephant role, whatever you want to call it. The role made famous by Bruce Irvin in Seattle.
That speed would be.
And then they use Hassan Reddick with it. Nolan Smith playing that same kind of role, developing behind Reddick. Reddick walks next year. Smith takes over that role. It's something that the Eagles do in the front seven. I'm going Nolan Smith.
I like it. All right. The last, the only, the Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs. They're in the talks for possibly trading for DeAndre Hopkins. And folks, I think they go get him because Brett Veach is that type of GM that if he wants someone, he'll go get him. He has no problem with that. He has no problem moving picks. I don't think they end up spending like a second or third. I think it's going to be like a fourth or fifth.
Yeah.
I think they're going to get DeAndre Hopkins. And you know what? Ooh, y'all are going to hate me here. I think the Chiefs go and make it even tougher for everyone and go and get Michael Mayer and get another tight end, pair up in Kansas City.
I was hoping you would say
bam.
That. And Andy Reid loves his dual tight ends. He loves his inline tight ends. He's always had one, but he's always had a receiving tight end. And Kelsey's done, obviously, one of the greatest tight ends ever.
Yes.
But Andy Reid with a guy like Michael Mayer could make Travis Kelce somehow even more valuable. Like some freaking hell. and then Meyer does the dirty work underneath and all that stuff, as well as Kelsey. Holy hell, that would just be dangerous.
No,
But-
I almost went Darnell Washington, but Reed loves his inlines. Like, he doesn't like the whole. I'm not saying Washington can't block, but if I've seen a lot of defensive ends on tape kind of whip him around when he doesn't expect it. Michael Meyer doesn't do that. He holds his point, man. I really do like his blocking.
Yeah, Michael Meyer is he's a badass. Like, he's physical. He's looking for a fist fight, and I like
He
Michael
ain't
Meyer.
fast, but he will take you behind the barn and whoop you.
He kind of reminds me of a more aggressive version of like an Anthony Fasano, like a less receiver than Jason Witten, but like that kind of mold where he's just really good in line. He's not a great receiver. He does the dirty work underneath. He can be a good receiver, I think, in time, but he does his job. But he's a really good blocker. And he's a willing blocker, and he wants to knock your head off, and that really helps him. I actually thought about him going to the Bengals because that gives them another tight end, and it gives them somebody right. So that gives them a replacement tight end. But it also gives them a guy who can block really well and actually help out with the extra protection, which Andy Reid in the West Coast offense has done for years. And the variation of a West Coast in the Shanahan system really relies heavily on tight ends to be a blocker. Yeah. And if you remember the Mike Marks system, where a tight end was basically an extra tackle. So, like, it really makes a lot of sense. It's a good fit. We've seen Andy Reid with those kind of guys before. And that's a good pick. That would be a good pick for them. I could see Washington there, but I definitely get Meyer there because he could at least start as a blocker right away. That's just my opinion.
If you give Reed any weapon, like if you went and gave him Josh Downs, if you went and gave him.
I'm going to put it this way. If Jalen Hyatt made it to 31, I'd have taken him at 31 all day long.
Oh, if Hyatt went there, dear Lord. Like, I really do think they're going to get DeAndre Hopkins, and that's the scariest thing of all because the guy clearly still has it. He's just on a crappy Cardinals team. Like, Kyler doesn't love football, and you can see DeAndre's fed up with being around that type of environment. He wants to win. He wants to get a ring, go play with Kansas City, go play with the next generational quarterback, and already has 2 Super Bowls, league MVP this year. Like, come on.
Bobby, go ahead and put Evan's trivia question up.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, good Lord.
Oh, it's sarcastic, but I feel his pain. I know what he's talking about. It's embarrassing, buddy. Evan, I know. You guys know the answer.
Go ahead, Bret.
Anything to get Dave Stager to talk about the Dolphins.
The Dolphins forfeited their pick for tampering. I hate it. I don't want to have
Yay, Chris Greer. Yay, Chris Greer. Yay,
no, that was all Stephen Ross, man. That was all Stephen Ross. And they pissed off Flores. See, if Stephen Ross had just fired Greer with Flores, this would have never happened. We'd still have both first-round, at least one first-round pick. We traded the other one for Chubb, but I don't even hate that. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. Because, I mean, Chubb is a plus player. So in the offseason, we were to trade for Chubb. I'll take it because I like plus players, and that was a good move. But, you know, like, losing your first for tampering on top of that, now you have no first this year. However, this isn't a terrible draft to not have a first because we just showed you that there's no like clear-cut guys, and usually, you know, guys fall. There's usually talent there, but you have to have the right guy making calls. So we'll see what happens. And who asked? JM Santos, Anthony, Evan, guys, all of you, thank you for tuning in. The Lions fan, I'm sorry I forgot your name that quick. I'm bad with names.
It was Greg?
Violet. Greg, yes. Dolphins Thursday. All you guys.
Josh was in here?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The reason I have a green screen, I didn't know we were doing green screens. I was going to set one up, so
Surprise!
I'll get one for next time.
I got my draft room ready, John.
That's all right. I got a picture. I'm going to play with one after this. I'm going to try to make one funnier.
No,
I'm going to do a hilarious
girl cover in the background.
I'm going to try to do a funny one. All right, guys. Oh man, I hope you guys had fun with that. With like 2 idiots that are doing a mock draft.
Any other thing on your mind before we want to get off?
No, the draft's almost here. I'm excited to see how this draft goes. But you will be watching us cover the draft live. I don't know who exactly all is going to be on there, but at our network, we will be doing a live watch.
I'll be here night one.
Dave for sure. Bobby, a handful of us will be watching it. I hope you tune in to join us for our live reactions and smart ass comments. I mean, live reactions. It's going to be a blast.
Picks.
Like that. That's a smart ass comment. All right, guys. That's it for me. That's all I got.
All right, folks, keep your eye out. Like I said, something may be happening with Lamar Jackson. Something may be happening with DeAndre Hopkins, Aaron Rodgers. There's still some trade targets out there. And, folks, if you're wondering on the whole Aaron Rodgers Packers thing, all I got to say is Packers are trying to get the most out of the deal right now, which I don't blame them. It's Hall of Fame quarterback they're giving up, even if he plays for 1 year. I'm fine with it. But all I'm going to say is, are you ready to feel the love? Because that's what's coming at 23-3, baby. Woo! Love it. Get it? Boom.
Oh, God. That's our cue. Let's get out of here,
All right,
Dad
folks.
jokes.
See ya. Have a good night. Like and subscribe. Have a beat.
Until next time.
We also got your 6.